Yeah, I can hear you faintly, so go ahead. I can hear you faintly, still faintly. So let's just start and see how it goes. Okay, okay. I think I get the most gist of that. No problem. Okay. Oh my goodness. For those of you that are joining me, it's been almost like 1 hour that I've been working on this thing. It's just so I've used this kind of this thing a lot of time. Hello, well done everyone. StreamYard, I've used it so many times, and it's so surprising that right now I'm supposed to do this program with this lady, and then all of a sudden there's such an echo coming in, and it's really disrupted the whole thing. And I've not been able to, hear her very well. And so we've been back and forth, back and forth. Like I did say to them, I'm going to be, please check the stream this, so you could follow them. If it's showing on YouTube, you could go off and watch it directly from their channel. Probably that would make more this thing. But hey, so we'll hear the conversation. I can barely hear her, but at least you guys will be able to hear my question. She too will be able to hear me. Well, she's doing a bit of intro, and so that's why you can't hear anything. Chinedu, what am I supposed to answer you with? What did you ask me? I don't know. I can't really focus on this as such. Yeah, that's smart. I'm going to be talking about marriage, so that's it. Chinedu, how are you? Well done. What am I supposed to answer you on? I don't get it. Hey, Chinedu Martins, well done. I don't hear you. They agree to. I they do another program. This one I'm a boy. I just said let people on this thing also hear this. Okay, sure. She's still doing a bit of background. You know that thing they come they talk about who person is. I was like, is that me you guys are talking about? I don't know. But anyway, I have to pay attention. So I have to pay absolute attention so that I will catch what she's saying, because it's crazy. I can't really hear what she's saying, but at least when we do it this way, there's no echo coming back. We've had a lot of echo. So I'm going to be talking about marriage. Yes, I do. I have experience in that background too. I've been married for 24 years. On 17th, I will be married for, how much is it now? 25 years. Hello? Oh, thank you so much. So, because of, like they say, there are no bad weather, only bad clothing. In the last 1 hour, I think almost 1 hour, 47 minutes it is right now, we've been struggling to get this thing going off. And so, I'm going to take responsibility for the fact that there is a delay today. Because in fairness to her, to my hostess, she did say, come in early. Let's get this thing started. Let's get everything done. And of course, sometimes they say a bit of arrogance comes into it, because I've used StreamYard so many times, and I'm like, okay, I'll come in like 10 minutes towards the end, and then it's taking us almost 40 minutes getting this done. So apologies to everyone. It's really my fault that we didn't start this thing very early. I'm going to take responsibility for that. As we go on, please, a bit of an understanding. I'm not hearing very well, so I'm trying to catch what is being said, but at least you guys can hear me very well, so that's the most important thing. So if there's a question you've asked me, can you please repeat that again so that I will get what it is you want me to talk about? Oh, oh, okay. So, Aisha Yesufu, who is Aisha Yesufu? Aisha Yesufu is one crazy human being who is unapologetically herself. First of all, for those of you who know my social media account, I don't do labels. I always say I don't do labels. I say it as it is. My mom says in my court, nobody wins, and that's the kind of person I've always been. I'm also someone of extreme personality in one human being, and I'm very okay with my different selves. The first gift I gave to myself is the gift of unconditional love. I know who I am. I accept myself for who I am. I love myself. I do not seek validation from anyone. And so for that helps me a lot, and knowing absolutely who I am. I'm the kind of person who, I'm an extrovert on one side. I can also be an introvert. So it's that kind of a person. So at home, I'm this goofy person, this loving person. I'm going to be fancy myself now anyways, but my family will also tell you the same thing. They always say that about me. I'm the one who is always making jokes, so you will laugh. Like my daughter, she's always like, mommy, that sometimes she's walking on the streets and she remembers one thing I said, and she just starts laughing. She's like, mommy, you're so funny. I'm that person who jokes a lot. I joke a lot. I'm funny. I'm loving. Whatever I do, I put my everything into it. So when I got married, it was something that I wanted to do, and it was something that I was ready to give it my all. I'm a very passionate person. I don't do things half measure. So when it came to being a wife, being a mother, motherhood and everything, I just give it my all. And my home, it's an amazing place that we've all have found love in it. And in about 2 weeks or so, on the 17th of April, it will be 25 years that myself and my husband, we've been married, and it's been amazing 25 years. So it's not as if, okay, marriage is endurance. I'm like, I ain't going to marry for no endurance. For me, marriage is enjoyment. If there's no enjoyment in it, almost count me out. So I'm that person. I'm a very loving person. I mean, my husband, spoil him to bits. He also does the same thing to me. So it's almost like a competition between us, who is going to make the other one smile more. And I think that's what really makes marriage an amazing thing. No, it's actually been who I've always been. So for me, when I see people say to me, "Oh, how are you able to have a voice? How do you get to be this person?" I'm thinking, is there any other person to be? Because I've always been this person. I've always had a voice. And my dad will talk about when I was a very little girl, maybe like 5 years or something. I walked up to him one day and I said to him, if he doesn't take me to school, I will no longer go to school, because his neighbor that would normally take me to school, that I said he was behaving one kind. He didn't like the fact that he was taking me to school. So I've always been one who fought for my rights, and not just my rights, but also for the rights of the people around me. I was less than 10 years old when I decided that the worst thing any human being can do to me is to kill me. And that it's not the worst thing anyways, because I'm going to die. So I've always been this thing. And it got me into lots of troubles anyway. I was beaten a lot of time. You know, when they say, oh, this stubborn child, you are a stubborn child, you're this, you're that. But in terms of fighting for people's rights, it's something I've done all my life. I'm the firstborn in my family. And even my parents, when it comes to my siblings, I will protect my siblings from my parents. Sometimes they didn't understand, and sometimes what they want to do or something like that. But I was always stood. And I was never afraid of being in the line of fire. I mean, you can come at me based on what somebody else has done, but I really wouldn't care. But as far as it's about justice and all of that, I'll be there. And also in speaking the truth. And that was why, as a very little girl, I realized that adults were happy when my truth favored them, and they were not happy when it didn't favor them. And so from there, I don't seek validation. If I say my own, whether you're happy about it or you are not happy about it, that has really gotten me on. Oh no, me waiting for the best man to come to me, never. I search for the best man. You know, I think about 3 years ago, I sat down and I was looking at myself and I realized that I had never been one. You know, when they say during our time, they call it toasting. I don't know whether they still call it now. When a guy will come and meet you, they like you and blah, blah, blah. I've never said yes to anybody who came to toast me. I was the one who knew the people I wanted, and I went after them. So I wasn't sitting down and waiting for somebody to come and meet me and say, no, I will look at it. I'll be the one to look for those qualities and go for it. And that's always how I've been. Initially, I was never thinking about marriage, honestly, because I looked at marriage around me, adapting. All the women around me were either, you know, during our own time as little girls, it was seen as normal for husband to beat wife. It was seen as normal and I found those things so irritating. And I used to say, me, never, I'm not going to sit down for a man to beat me. I used to say, literally, I was like, any man that puts his hand on me, he will go to heaven that day. No one. And my parents and everyone like, what? There's nobody that will marry you. You can't have somebody that will marry you with this your attitude. I was like, no. For me, so my most the thing I focused on really was actually making money. I grew up very poor. We're very poor, and all my attention was on the father. Get a job, finish your school, get a job and make that money and get out of the ghetto. So that was my focus. I was really not even interested in marriage. I remember I used to say to my immediate junior sister, because she was more the girly type, the one, I was like, please, don't wait for me to get married though. Go, if you find a husband, go and get married. For me, I was more focused on career, waiting on growing myself. But one of the things I would say to you is the fact that I knew what I wanted out of marriage, and what are the things I wanted, and what are the things that I'm not going to take. And I see a lot of people, when they are talking about certain things, and women are putting in their list of the things that they will accept and what will be that break point thing for them. Some people are like, no, when you're going into marriage, you shouldn't be thinking about this. I'm like, what other way is there to think about? You have to think about those things, and those things are very important. You must know what is it that you're looking for in a partner. It's not just waiting and sitting down and say, oh, anybody that comes to you, that toasts you, that's it. And I always say especially to women, that how do you allow yourself to be a passive participant in a relationship that you're going to be an active participant? So most times they say to women, oh, you are the ones that will make marriage, you're the ones that will make a home, which is a lie. It's both parties that make a home. And then they say to you, oh, sit down and look fine and look coy and look beautiful, and just allow whoever it is that walks into your life to be the one to toast you and marry you. No. I'm going to be searching for who is it that I want, and if that person has the qualities that I want. And even if I start a relationship with you, if I see that you don't have those qualities that I'm looking for, I'm walking away. There are no two big things about it. And I'll give you an example. I met my husband on the 13th of December, 1996. It was a day after my 23rd birthday. And my uncle, my maternal uncle, was getting married, and he was my uncle's friend. I never knew him. I never even heard anything about him. So I was supposed to go for a wedding, my friend's wedding, and then my uncle needed somebody. You know, when they spray money, the person that will pack all the money, he needed somebody he trusted to do that for him. So he asked me, and then you know all those kind of marriage where you're sure trying to make ends meet, kind of thing. Your friends, you're dependent on the money they're going to donate. So my uncle wanted me to do that, and I was so, no, I wanted to go to my friend's wedding in Katsina. So that didn't happen. My parents said, oh, I should stay for my uncle's. So that's how I went for that, my uncle's wedding, his bachelor's eve. And that was where I saw my husband. He just stood up that day. He went, and it was this tall, handsome guy. And I just felt handsome, my boo, you know, and I fell in love with him. And that was it. And that was how we started. We didn't start a relationship immediately after. Anyways, I had to do a little bit of chasing and pulling him in. And like, hey guys, see, fine babe, no miss something. But why am I explaining that? Because when on that same place was another guy who was a medical doctor, who had seen me then and who was interested in marrying me. You know, then it's always the marriage and whatever. And I wasn't feeling him. And this guy came one day. And I will never forget that was on Valentine's Day 1997, and I was in the school, in the hostel. I was still in Bayero University, and he came to me to say, oh, that it's Valentine's Day, that he had bought chicken, that I should come to his house and come and cook for him. I said, me come to your house and cook for you, when me too, I'm looking for who to cook for me. So for me, so I just said, just to put it to you, I knew what I wanted, and that was the end of that relationship. Everybody found their way. And let me give you a little bit like with my husband. Like when my husband, so the first time, you know, after wedding, there's this VHS cassette they used to share. For the older generation will understand that. And so they used to share this thing. And so for me, I told my uncle, okay, I'm going to give it to this person, this your friend, which is now my husband. So I went to his office, I gave it to him, and so that's how we started talking. I went to collect it. That was me making my own move, so went to all of that. When we started that whole research. So one day he asked me, why are you not in school? I was like, I'm still looking for my accommodation. So he now said, okay, when your accommodation, if you get your accommodation, I will drop you in school. I'm like, okay. So when I actually got my accommodation, I told my uncle, I said, tell your friend to come. And my uncle was like, your friend, my friend, why would he come and pick? I said, just tell him. So he came. So that was the day. Then when my husband dropped me, then he wasn't my husband. And then he dropped, that was 8 months after we had met. So he dropped me, and then he said, oh, maybe I will come and see you on Saturday. It was on a Wednesday he dropped me in school. And he said, maybe I'll come and see you on Saturday. That was August 1997. Remember, I saw him first December 1996. We didn't start going out till August 1997. And then I looked at my husband. Then he wasn't my husband. So I looked at him and I said, I don't do maybes. It's either you're coming to see me or you're not coming to see me. Because I can't stay in my room all day on Saturday waiting for you. That's just to tell you the kind of person that I've always been. I know what I want. I go for it. If it's not working, I move on. That's it. Okay. Well, it's supposed to come from one source, so I really don't know. I I don't know. So.